What a crazy caption, by the way. Hasan platform Zionist genocide propagandist who looks like Bosch. Oh my god, dude. Stop. Let's just watch a little bit because I don't know how invested I can get in this on a Sunday fun day, but I just want to see a little, okay? A little.
So Hasan Piker.
And you guys know my entire position on both Bad Empanada and Hasan. And I think, listen, all right, I think that there's nothing wrong with discourse on the left and getting better positions on the left and being able to criticize each other. I do think that there's a line, but I don't know if this video crossed it because I didn't watch it yet. So we're watching it together. Wait, one's if you guys have seen this, two's if you haven't, three's if you want to explode.
Invited liberal Zionist propagandist Matt Duss onto his stream for a nice chat. Why Bernie's foreign policy advisor broke with DC Democrats. He even uploaded it to his channel. He never uploaded his talk with me to his channel. So this guy is Bernie's foreign policy advisor, or ever was Bernie's foreign policy advisor. Should probably ring alarm bells as to what Bernie Sanders always has been for anyone who hasn't noticed that yet. But let's look at some of Matt Duss's openly extolled stances. Matt Duss in 2016 said that he endorses a piece that said that the anti-Israel left is pure anti-Semitism. He actually wrote a piece December 14th, 2023, while the
Why are you even addressing this seriously? I mean, I just told you. I literally just explained it. Because it's good to criticize each other and take the valuable criticism we can and improve our positions.
genocide was ongoing. I remind you, at this time, I already made my video.
Like, you have to understand that we ended up with like situations like Lolo for not listening to criticism early enough or soon enough. There's nothing wrong with criticizing each other and having some accountability. That's fine. And like, I remember the last time Hasan got sort of heavily criticized by Bad Empanada. I remember there were a lot of people that were like, dude, Bad Empanada is a fucking piece of shit. He has nothing he has to offer here. And then they had a conversation and they agreed with most things. They just disagreed on like 2 things about methodology. Like, we all agree on the vast majority of things. It's not a bad thing to just talk about the things that we disagree with or disagree on.
Making the legal case against Israel for genocide in Gaza.
Also, check the comments on Hasan's last 2 YouTube videos. This isn't just Bad Empanada criticizing him over this. It's Hasan's own community. Oh, let me just say, yeah, as someone who gets Haas Twitter tweets on my feed, I would love to join Haas Twitter, but like, I don't know how communities work, and I'm scared to try to join one, and I don't even know how they.
You all are doing well.
I don't even know how they work, so I'm scared. I just engage peripherally. Okay, I'm a Twitter normie. I'm just like, okay. What was I trying to say on this? Oh yeah, but long before Bad Empanada even made tweets or even posted about it, I saw people on Haas Twitter being like, why did Hasan bring on Matt Duss?
Saying that Israel's methods are not as extreme as Russia's, and it's very important to acknowledge that. At that point, Israel had already killed more civilians in Gaza than Russia had killed in Ukraine during the entire war. He called Palestinian resistance a far-right theocratic organization committing mass murder in the name of blood and soil nationalism. That is how this guy characterizes Palestinian resistance. And he spread the mass rape hoax. In December 2023, he said, denying the rape and sexual violence that Hamas committed on October 7th is disgusting. And then, he did a token thing. So he's using that to excuse the humanitarian catastrophe Israel is intentionally inflicting on the Palestinians. This is pure liberal Zionist bullshit. This is the Ethan Klein stance. Then he said, in May 2024, well after the mass rape hoax was fully debunked, so no excuse anymore. There was never an excuse in the first place for believing it, given that there was no evidence, but now there's certainly no excuse. Very much worth noting that the ICC includes rape and other acts of sexual violence in the list of Hamas offenses. It's very clear that these things happen, and it's ridiculous that some continue to deny it. Very confident there, isn't he? May 2024, this guy was saying this shit. There could be like a world in which you invite this guy on, but you invite him on to destroy him. You invite him on to challenge him on this stuff, not nicely either, to really grill the fuck out of him and ruin him forever. So that's what you should do with people like this. You invite him on, your first question is, so you claim that Hamas did mass rape on October 7th. So why have you never provided any evidence of that, even though you've consistently spread this genocide-enabling blood libel from the very beginning? Hey, why don't you say that Palestinian liberation is blood and soil nationalism? You pin them on this live and you get them stuttering. You debunk their entire narrative. That's the utility that these guys have. They are tools to be used. You destroy them, you upload the video of it, and then you just fucking forget about them. That's not what Hasan did here. He gave him a softball interview and promoted him. It's important to note that people like this, he's trying to break into alternative media, because someone like this is no longer of much use to the Washington, D.C., sort of think tank industrial complex and political advisor complex that he has mostly been involved in for his entire adult life. But this guy, you kind of have to consider that he's in this sort of in-between thing where he was like a Bernie Sanders advisor. So he's going to be too progressive for the mainstream Democrats, but he's also too pro-Israel for anyone who's like someone posturing, someone who's on the cusp of being consumed by the Democratic Party, entrism complex. There's not really much of a home for someone like him. He's not needed by the mainstream Democrats. He's not even needed by people like Bernie Sanders anymore, who have gone full mask-off Zionists at this point. So he needs an alternative income stream. He needs a safety net. And his way of doing that is making a podcast. So he's...
I think on a lesser extent for sure, but it's sort of like the Nelk boys talking to Netanyahu. It's not the fact that they talk to Netanyahu that's the problem. It's the fact that they didn't go hard in on him. Right? If you bring on Netanyahu and then you criticize the shit out of him and you argue against him and you don't let him just say his garbage talking points, fucking perfect. Great. Wonderful. And I think this is something that Hasan's always been a little bit bad about, difficult interviews or difficult conversations where people don't have personal agendas, where people aren't genuinely trying to have a conversation. I think when people are genuinely trying to have a conversation, he does a great job of that. But when they're not, when they're bad actors, I think he struggles in those situations. And to be fair, I'm not claiming that I would be any better. It's something that you need a lot of time and you need to put a lot of effort into getting better at. And to be clear, bringing on Matt Duss, and he did push him on a couple of things, just not as hard as he could have, is not nearly the same as bringing on Netanyahu and then literally Netanyahu gives you the questions that he expects you to ask him. These are not comparable at all, right? You think he's going to have trouble with Charlie Kirk in a couple weeks? No, I think he knows that losing to Charlie Kirk would look really bad optically. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing some practice on that. What the hell? What? Bad is correct as always. Anyone who says woke scold is an anti-intersectional loser. I literally showed up, asked if he talked about it, got auto banned for saying his name. LOL. Glad Denims is engaging with this criticism of Hasan. Genuinely, I get what the haters are talking about. Jesus, Denims, say something. Transform the content, LOL. It's both, TBH. Dude, you got banned from a different chat because you're annoying as shit. I know that this is a crazy concept, but I like to actually let the people make their points before I pause every 10 seconds to fucking talk. Okay? Actually, I think streamers... pausing is just as important as not pausing. And streamers that sit there and they watch videos and they're
trying to...
Anyway, so this is what I'm talking about. We need to do something about this.
Leverage his
And the problem with Bad Empanada is...
disgusting career.
No, that's not an enjoyable watch. I refuse to believe that is an enjoyable watch. You let a video play for a minute or 2 minutes, especially with content like this where it's not super dense and you're letting someone preamble a little bit. Let them talk for a minute or two and then you talk. Jesus, you were sitting there for a long time. Relax. You literally showed up at 9/11, waited 2 minutes, and then immediately started screaming about this. You waited 2 minutes.
as a like Washington, D.C. foreign policy genocider to sort of get out of that inorganic sphere where you are propped up by people with lots of money and lots of interest in genociding people in the third world for money. He's trying to get out of that by making a podcast called the Undiplomatic Podcast. And
I think the other problem with someone like Matt Duss is I think a lot of people didn't even know who Matt Duss was prior to his conversation with Hasan Piker. And the thing with Hasan is you have a giant audience, right? Just simply by talking to people, you give them relevance. I mean, one's if you didn't know who he was, two's if you knew who he was prior to his conversation with Hasan. And it's not a problem if we find out, because it's not like we're going to become sympathetic to Matt Duss, right? It's the problem is people like Ethan Klein finding out who Matt Duss is, and then they do apology tours for them, right? That would be the concern, that you're bringing relevance to them. Whereas like Netanyahu, there is no streamer on the planet that can give Netanyahu more relevance. He's already one of the most widely hated people on the fucking planet. The vast majority of people that are even a little involved in the political theater know who Netanyahu is. Maybe Kai Cenat, maybe.
You can see they don't really get many views. This podcast is something that no one cares about, and they immediately uploaded the like Hasan Piker talk highlights to their podcast channel. It's like the best thing that's ever happened to them.
I didn't know him before, but it's been pointed out that he's been on the Majority Report multiple times. He was also on Democracy fucking Now! The day after Hasan. I mean, he's doing his media tour because that's what you're trying to do when you're fucking opening up your podcast, right?
They got fucking Hasan Piker, you know, like this big streamer, big up-and-coming, soon-to-be mainstream media personality onto their podcast, and they're ecstatic. They are so happy about this. It's the best thing that ever could have happened to their podcast. It already has like 10 times more views than they usually get. So this is just irresponsible from Hasan Piker here. He did not challenge this guy. This was not an adversarial interview. It's not inviting someone on to rightfully destroy them. It's inviting someone on to promote them. That's what this was. It gets worse with this guy as well, by the way. I haven't even shown you what I think is the worst thing, which is not this. This is pretty bad, though. Like, I was just looking through his tweets for anything on Israel, and he's like, this is a tweet from August 2024, in which he said, I know folks who previously served in the IDF who I'd be thrilled to have in the White House.
Bro.
This is someone who Hasan Piker invited onto his stream to give him a nice little boost. Here is Matt Duss going on Democracy Now!, arguing against the ceasefire in Gaza and justifying Bernie Sanders' anti-ceasefire position. Hasan Piker's latest interviewee, folks.
Matt, you worked for Senator Sanders. She pushed him on a ceasefire. He said he was for a pause, but wouldn't go so far as a ceasefire. Your thoughts?
No, I think the senator has been one of the strongest voices for a cessation of violence, for stopping the bombing. These are the words he used in his speech on the floor of the Senate a couple weeks ago. He has been one of the strongest voices in the country.
I want to be clear as you listen to this. Remember that this is someone who Hasan Piker chose to help with his entry into the alternative media sphere. This guy is looking for an exit ramp from his career justifying Zionist atrocities, and Hasan Piker helped him with that. He's realizing that the palatability of what he offers these Democratic Party genociders is going down. He's not going to have his job forever. And his like podcast sort of thing is a way to give himself an off-ramp from this career, which isn't going to be viable forever. And here he is fucking advocating against the fucking ceasefire of all things.
Raising the issue of the Palestinians who are dying. And even before October 7, he was one of the strongest voices pressing the U.S. government to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
This is liberal Zionism.
I want to talk about a couple things. One, more, by the way, evidence of like, I'm pretty sure this tweet was before any of the videos from, I got to close some of these tabs. From Bad Up and Odd. I mean, we can double check right now. Let's see. He made a video. Okay, here we go. But I thought that he was also tweeting, so maybe the tweets came before that, 13 hours ago. And then this was August 15th. It's August 17th today at 7:34 p.m. It's like a day and a half ago. Why does Hasan do cozy interviews with genocidal Zionist Matt Duss, who is one of the most odious scumfuck cunts alive, describing the Palestinian resistance as blood and soil Nazis, while playing a key role in spreading the genocidal atrocity propaganda rape hoax to progressive and liberals to get their consent for the genocide? But he would never have on people like Aaron Mete, Max Blumenthal, and Ali Abnuma. Why are you promoting one of the most odious scumfuck cunt scum alive instead of people who do actually good work? I mean, again, I think it's fine if you want to bring on, no, not Matt Duss, because I think he kind of is a little bit irrelevant. And I think when you have a large platform, you have a responsibility to not bring on irrelevant people because you give them traction, whether you want to or not. But I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing on a popular figure on the genocidal front that is Israel and then pressuring the fuck out of them and, you know, pushing them into a corner, right? Because you're not going to convince someone who has like a financial incentive to continue to do propaganda for Israel, right? That's never the goal. The goal is like anyone that's in their audience or any of their fans. Okay. Yeah. And this is like, again, I saw people talking about this long before I saw Bad Empanato talking about this. This was another example of a tweet. A few weeks ago, Hasan Piker agreed with Noah Samson about pro-genocide people grifting to soft launch media careers by claiming they've changed course. Matt Duss is doing exactly that. Hasan even says the only way these people are redeemable is if they whistle-blow their funding.
It's one thing for someone to realize they were wrong and then actively work towards helping alleviate the problem, which is a genocide. It's another thing entirely to use this as a way to boost a media career. And I think with a lot of these people that are going to change their mind and try to reposition, we got to remember, we got to keep a very close record of what they said while it was happening and not let them do that. They'll try, but there should be a continuous effort to say, no. On October 10th, you started justifying what Israel's doing. You started weaponizing your identity to run cover for Israel and blame everything Israel's doing on Hamas, which is exactly what Israel's doing.
Or college protesters.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what you were focused on during this. Yeah. So you can try to move on. And you know, it's good if you want to make videos about how it's a genocide and you want to make like contributions to this, to like, you know, the knowledge of the space. That's a good thing that should happen. But we have to keep in mind that the reason they're doing it is a grift. They're trying to make money.
I think the only way that these grifters can ever do something that is redeemable is if they detail and identify exactly how they were paid.
Yes.
And basically out this entire pervasive influence network and work as a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Like that is the maximum impact that you could have. If you are one of these people and you've gotten your bread buttered all along, the only way that you can change the tide, the only way that you can salvage what remains of your morality, okay, is to basically snitch on all of the people that have been like, hey, this is a good article to write. Okay, here's some money for.
And then I wanted to try and find. This is a good post. Crazy take. Hasan's a good dude. Chill, chat. We all make mistakes. He'll make it right. Oh, yeah, of course. No, I mean, like, I think that this one. Listen, we all take L's, okay? We all take L's. Except for Twitch chat. We all take L's. It's okay. It's okay. One small slip up, like one mistake is not, it doesn't magically undo the hundreds of hours of activism or good or journalism or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I really don't care what people call it. Of good. Like, there's nothing wrong with calling out creators and being like, hey, you know, I don't think you should bring on people like this guy. This was kind of a mishap. This guy's a huge piece of shit. I took the L of teasing you about a subject you're completely legitimately sensitive about right now. Sorry about that. Well, it's not that I'm sensitive about it. It's that I don't like people that come in that strong for no reason. If you're going to do that, you just have to be funny. That's the only rule in here. You can criticize me and make fun of me as much as you want, but it has to be funny. It has to make at least a couple people laugh. So yeah, can you watch his response on his channel? Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I saw that it was reposted, but I'm like struggling to find it. If anyone has the link to it, it'd be cool. Hasan's a one-man team. Yeah, but like, I don't like that excuse because it's like, you can just hire someone to vet the people that you want to interview. Then it's not that hard. It's not that hard at all. It's harder when like you don't have the finances to hire someone to do that, but if you do, that's not a big deal. Oh, thank you. Sir Thembo, Paul Amanda. Thank you. This tweet, if Ethan Klein thinks Matt Duss is a decent person, you know you fucking screwed up. I saw to disavow the Zionist come and apologize. And it's a Bad Empanada tweet saying it's time to dump Hasan Piker. And like, this is like the Bad Empanada shtick. This is why people... I would say that there are... I'm trying to use words that won't offend either party. There are like two parties in the leftist, online leftist circles. And one of them is a lot more militant than the other one, right? And I think most Hasan people, most Hasan viewers are the less militant group. And I think Bad Empanada is just like, he believes in militancy. You know, he thinks that if you want people to address your points, you have to go full militancy. And he's also a troll. He's engagement farming in order to make a broader point. Well, no, I think he's engagement farming to make people talk about the issue because he thinks that the issue is important, right? It's sort of like, I would compare it to interpersonal relationships. I don't know if anyone's had this experience, but you ever tell someone, a friend, a family member, a partner, or something that you care about something, and then, and you say like, don't do this, or please do this in the future, and then they don't. And then they tell you, oh, I didn't realize you cared about it that much. And it's something small. I had this moment in my life, or multiple times in my life, where I was like, oh, sometimes you just really have to stress how important certain things are, because if you don't stress them, the other person won't know. When it's things that might seem small to other people. I'm talking about like beating someone. I'm talking about like, let's say you have OCD and you really, really fucking hate when people put cups not on coasters. And it's not a big deal, like it's not important, like it really doesn't matter, but it causes you extreme distress. And also lots of people could potentially not realize that it's as important to you as it is, or to them as it is to you. And so things that might seem trivial to other people, sometimes you have to over-explain and over-stress to get people to understand, right? So like if this is something that actually, do you need OCD for that? No, I'm just saying the most extreme version of that. And sometimes you have to be like, no, I'm really serious. Like it brings me a lot of distress when I see cups without coasters. Like, please, 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 please use coasters. I can get you whatever coasters you want. I can get 1 million coasters. We can put 10,000 coasters in this place. I just need you to do that. Because it is actually way more important. It's not just like, oh, if you want to. It's please, 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 please do that. And this is sort of the same thing. I know that this analogy is getting a little convoluted, but it's sort of the same thing where like, if something is important, you have to stress it and over-exaggerate it to make sure everybody understands that it's important. Right? If you say it's time to dump Hasan Piker over this, everybody else is getting a signal that like, oh, this might be a serious issue. It's like hyperbole, if that makes sense. But anyways, this fucking H3 post. It's so funny how the machine turned on Hasan for platforming an actually decent person like Matt Duss. We need to be elevating voices like Matt and shutting out people like Bad Empanada and the psychotic squirrel. Maybe now you can return to when you understood that Bad Empanada is a terrible person that should never be platformed. It's almost like, I don't know, it's good to have people on your side that criticize you and attack you and are critical of you. And I think it gives you better positions. This is why I've never understood people who don't like, or people who I think are overly critical of Bad Empanada, but only because he attacks Hasan. It's like, guys, you're getting a better version of Hasan because Bad Empanada exists. It's making him better at propaganda. It helps you refine your position, and it helps you just have better positions. How's this helpful though? You're adding additional context, but Bad Empanada doesn't. Well, that's because I think it's obvious to me as a content creator, but it might not be obvious to other people as a content creator. And it also loses its value if everybody knows that it's just trolling, right? Not trolling is trolling is an oversimplification for the term. this has the most pull, like a bad empanada tweet like this has the most pull when people don't understand that he's using as much hyperbole as possible to force Hasan to address this issue. How the fuck do any of you chatters think this is farming? Go ahead and log off. You wait, but I don't even think that Bad Empanada would say that it's not farming. It's intentionally farming to force him to force Hasan to address it. The goal is like poking the bear as hard as you can because the issue is important enough that it's worth it. It's like when you have an author who gets too famous to take criticism and then their writing gets worse because their editors stop being critical. Yeah. Why so much hate if Hasan's point of view is logical, makes sense, and correct in nature? Isn't it good to understand why the other side is wrong? Their views are not even consistent and usually hard to defend in most cases. I don't know what these questions are way too vague. I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. Okay. These people have the same smoke for Majority Report or Democracy Now! Who also regularly talk to Matt Duss? Or is it just easy and popular to drag Hasan for it? Oh, I mean, for sure. Are you kidding me? It's absolutely way easier to drag Twitch streamers over the same thing that like YouTubers or podcasters. The same exact thing, 100%. But like, I'm a glass half full person. I don't think that the solution is, well, everybody needs to stop dragging everybody and the left to just get along. Because that's how you end up with the right-wing party. Right? Aren't you just hoping people will research more and not just say, yeah, fuck Hasan and move on? No, because the people that Bad Empanada is fighting are Hasan enjoyers and watchers like you who need a lot to be swayed away from that position. So he just wants his audience? No, he wants his audience to hold him accountable. I'm kind of surprised by like, I don't feel like this is difficult. Maybe it's just easier as someone who's seen the back end to understand what this looks like and what this is. Be back. Okay. Let me get the video 1 second. So someone linked it. All right. The point that I'm going to make, I'm going to try and put it in one sentence. All right. To the best of my ability. The purpose of people like, this is the way that I see it. The purpose of people like Bad Empanada in this space, they exist to improve more palatable leftist creators and leftist voices. They exist to improve those spaces and those voices by attempting to hold creators accountable. Kind of like a coach that says, you know, are you kidding me, dude? You can go fucking faster than that. Let's go, let's go, let's go. You know what I mean? Like you're holding this person accountable by holding them to a higher standard to improve their positions and to improve their ability to reach greater heights and more people. Basically just critique for improvement. Yeah.
It's awesome. Nasty.
Let's watch.
All up and down Reddit. Saw that I was getting canceled simultaneously by Bad Empanada as not being sufficiently pro-Palestine, which is true. That's right. It's mine now, so I'm pro-Israel. I'm Israel Chai. You know, that's right. I can't wait for my major media career. None of it is relevant. We'll talk about some of it as a joke. It doesn't really matter. Squirrel has been trying to cancel leftists for a while. Fed behavior? No. They're very passionate about that.
The Squirrel account cares a lot about the leftist values. So this is the biggest problem. I think a lot of people, when they see people criticize people like Hasan, they don't understand that it's possible that these people just care a lot about the issues they talk about. And that there isn't just a plain attempt to cancel, right? Someone doesn't have to be personally motivated to really care about leftist issues. It's because of drama framework. Also, people expect the left. I mean, expect the worst. I think the best way to think about this, or like the best way to, before you come to a criticism against someone, just look at their previous work. How much of their time have they spent talking about leftist values? And how much of it has been about drama? And if you go to the Squirrels page, all of it is politics. Basically, none of it is drama. That's someone who fucking cares about the issues that they fucking talk about. And it's not like they're monetizing their shit. Like, I mean, I think that they have a Substack and a YouTube, but like, I don't know how much money you could possibly be bringing in off of these things. Versus like, no, the reason why no one takes fucking Willie Mack seriously is because his entire YouTube channel is just slop. And then you have Nicholas Eat Oreo explicitly tweeting out how he only covers the Palestinian genocide because it brings in clicks. And it's because of it is the new recent drama cycle. Like those people, when they criticize someone like Hasan, you can ignore it because they only do fucking slop. Versus someone who criticizes Hasan, who the majority of their work and the majority of their content is actually caring about political leftist issues.
This issue. They've yelled at me in the past. Again, like I said, we can have healthy and reasonable disagreements with one another. It's not a cancellation. You deadass platform is genocide denier. The irony, of course, is that if you were to listen to the interview, these are some of the things that I addressed. This is some of the things that he also said. He says it's a genocide.
He may be making this decision because he's sensing a change in the weather, but that change in the weather is what's very important here. That's the result of not only of the inescapable, undeniable reality of starvation and genocide, but a movement that has been working very hard for many years.
I do believe that a lot of people are going to come back in here today and just like make a mountain out of a molehill, which is fine. If you guys want to be on this wavelength, that's all right. I'm going to keep it pushing. I'm going to keep talking about things that I think are relevant and important. Yeah, because he's covering his ass up 2 years of genocide support. I told you what my policy is. You say it's a genocide. You want to stop weapons transfers to Israel, and you are an advisor in the foreign policy blob, keep pushing. As long as you don't try to limit others who are more radical than you, try to stop others, and try to actively deplatform others, if you are unconditionally and uncompromisingly on board, then it is what it is. Good. Only time will tell if these people are being cynical or being bad. But it's not like we agreed. There was a back and forth thing.
I disagree. Oh, Mayor Cat, hi. I disagree only a little bit because I'm a little torn on the issue. On the one hand, I agree that if someone is willing to try and they do the political theater aspect and they say, you know, I think it's a genocide and I want to help stop weapons from entering Israel. Okay. I don't know that I believe you, but okay. But on the other hand, there's almost like the opposite effect where like, this is a criticism that's made of AB, for example, that AB pushing back against Ethan Klein, it actually has the opposite effect. It doesn't hold him accountable. It makes him considered to be a more reliable source on Israel-Palestine because they have a guy who's Lebanese who, you know, he stays around and he sticks around. So he obviously must not think that like his boss is a bad person. So you not even just providing cover, but you closer to like useful idiot. You legitimize this person, right? By pushing back a little bit here and there. Because it means all the times you don't push back, they must be spitting. And if you have your designated fact checker on hand that holds you accountable, it means you can trust this guy. It's okay. So you like, again, you're like legitimizing this person, right? And so I'm always a little bit sus when someone who's done nothing but, like Matt Duss, Hasbara, and has done nothing but genocide denial for 2 years, bringing him on so he can be like, wait. I think it's a genocide. Okay? I don't know that that's enough. If anything, I think sometimes it has the opposite effect where you're legitimizing someone that hasn't actually fundamentally changed. They've just learned the right words and phrases they need to say to become more palatable. Does that make sense?
There that I think a lot of people fail to consider. Also, the conversation was supposed to be about Ukraine and Russia, which obviously I can't stop talking about Israel, which is why it is what it is. I mean, you're talking to people in the Democratic Party structure like Zero Shock. They've had horrific takes up until this point, so you very clearly pushed them on things and didn't tone down your language at all. I know. The issue is a lot of people think that a conversation that you have with a person who's like a foreign policy guy who you have disagreements with, that you let your disagreements be known, is going to lead to like a bloodbath. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm talking to someone who is an ultra Zionist or someone who is like refusing to say it's a genocide. Like you know what my red lines are, you know, someone who is a significant hurdle, like someone who says like, oh, you can't speak about this, you can't speak about that. Someone who places the feelings of Jewish people cynically in front of like an actual genocide. The irony, of course, as always, is that it's the same principle behind the Nelk boys. Like I had a conversation with them in the immediate aftermath where I directly told them like, what you guys did was like interviewing Adolf Hitler, and there were a lot of journalists that were tried at the Nuremberg trials in the aftermath of the Holocaust for their participation in it. And yet that in and of itself did not come across as like being sufficiently antagonistic to a lot of people, because some of you guys, I think, are more invested in the bloodbath of it all and not necessarily the information you can derive out of that. I told you what the reason was. I also didn't know a lot of the stuff that Matt Duss had said, to be fair, and I wish I had known so I could just like push back on some of this stuff, right? Having said that, I think there is a difference with the way that I have adversarial interviews with like someone like Matt Duss versus someone like Elise Stefanik, right? Crystal Ball's Stefanik interview is fantastic. Everybody loves that. Just apologize, man. I will never apologize for that. And the fact that you are demanding an apology for this is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Who the are you? What the are you saying? Who the do you think you are? What do you mean? Like, this is what I'm talking about. The sense of entitlement that a lot of people have in this situation is so insane. I don't know much about Matt Duss beyond the interview.
Let me hear that again. I just want to make sure I'm not misrepresenting. I'm sorry.
Elise Stefanik, right? Crystal Ball's Stefanik interview is fantastic. Everybody loves that. Just apologize, man. I will never apologize for that. And the fact that you are demanding an apology for this is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Who the are you? What the are you saying? Who the do you think you are? What do you
Oh man. I see both sides. This happens every time I cover any disagreement between Bad Empanada and Hasan Piker, which is exactly twice, which is not that many times. But it's so infuriating to be in this position. I fucking hate it. Oh, dude. Oh my God. This really is just like mom and dad are fighting. Please stop fighting, mom and dad. Bad analogy because like Crystal held Slotkin's feet to the fire. Dude, Crystal, bro, she gagged. She tied that woman up and held her fucking feet to the fire, dude. Metaphorically. Oh, man. Okay, so on the one hand, I agree that like, and everybody else would agree, if you were Hasan and people came in with like this authority and they were like, apologize right fucking now. There are no words that can describe how irritating that level of like parasocialism is. You can't really understand it unless you've experienced it, whether that's at like your job or with friends or whatever. It's one of the most irritating sensations on the planet. And the worst part about it is like, it's never coming from people who actually created these positions on their own. The type of people that come and chat and do that shit are the type of people that like, they got it. They're parasocialists who just got it from somebody else. So it's very aggravating. On the other hand, I get people's frustration, and I think you can voice those frustrations. And I think the entire purpose of the frustrations and voicing them is to try and improve or like not let something like that happen again, right? But is that not the point of farming from bad? No, it's the difference between saying, "Hey, I think that this was irresponsible and like you fucked up big time here," and saying, "Apologize to me right now." It's like, who the fuck are you? What the hell? I will say no one's watching Hasan and saying I'm a Zionist now. No, the point or the concern is that people like Ethan Klein, who didn't know who Matt Duss was before this, bring Matt Duss on and then do a whole tour for them. And then he gets a bunch of relevance because Hasan platformed him, which put him on the radar for other people. That's the concern. Okay.
Mean. Like, this is what I'm talking about. The sense of entitlement that a lot of people have in this situation is so fucking insane. I don't know much about Matt Duss beyond the interview and his commentary yesterday. He seems like a fine dude. What's going on? It's because of a bunch of the stuff that he has said in the past that even I think are, you know, early genocide apologia. And I wish I knew more about that, because what he's saying right now is that it's a genocide. You got to stop, you know, weapons transfers. And part of the reason why I wanted to address some of that was because, like, I wanted to hear what he would say in defense of like offensive weapons versus defensive weapons. And I made these exact points about, like,
to be fair, or to be clear, Matt Duss was someone who was known before and Hasan had him on. Yeah, it's just fucked because like Hasan has to be held at a higher standard in the same way that I have to be held at a higher standard because we're controversial people that have a lot of hate watchers. Versus like the Majority Report doesn't really have a lot of hate watchers. Right? You act like Hasan is even close to the largest audience Duss has been on. Even if Hasan didn't have him on, it doesn't make him disappear from mainstream outlets. Matt Duss has been on CNN, BBC, MSNBC, CGTN, Al Jazeera, and a ton of other mainstream outlets at Denims. Well, what do you think the solution is? Like, we just don't talk about it? We're just like, okay. I hope he doesn't do that again. Like, I'm curious about those people, like the people who come in with this position. And that was not like a rhetorical question or meant to be sassy. That was a genuine question. I apologize if it came off any other way. I mean it like genuinely again. Also, MR and Democracy Now! Deserve valid criticism for something like that too? Oh yeah, of course. If a chatter comes in and demands an apology from you, are you going to do it? Huh? No. The problem is you can't be beholden to those people because those people are really fucking annoying. And then you have an audience of the most annoying people on the fucking planet. I've already said this before but a million times. If there's something that I do on my stream that you find to be offensive in any way, please email me, message me, whatever. That's a much better forum for enacting change. Wait, did this chatter respond? I just don't see the argument of asking him to delete the video and people acting like not having him on in the first place would fix it. Sorry, my message came off aggressive. No. Your message is fine. I'm genuinely just curious about the way I see it is everyone in here right now, regardless of your position, we're on the same side and we're on the winning side. I just want to win as hard as we can win. Okay, I'm sorry. Second place, you are basically a fucking loser. Okay, that's my mentality about these things. I want to win, and I want to win hard.
Denims apologized, meow KKW.
All right. And I genuinely want to know, or I want to figure out what the best way to win is. Winning is hard, and brother, I like to stay hard. If you're not first, you're last. Exactly. Okay. But yeah, I feel like with this type of stuff, it's like, I feel like holding someone accountable doesn't being like, I don't want you to do these type of things in the future. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that that's good. I haven't seen anyone asking him to delete the video. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. Maybe it's in the end of this Bad Empanada video. We haven't gotten that far yet. Okay. Close. All right. What's the relationship between liberals and people who buy Labubu? They're just one circle.
Par excellence. I can't fucking believe that you could platform this without calling it out.
So I understand there are some of my colleagues on the left who've been pushing for, to use the word ceasefire. I get that. I think what the senator said there about the challenges of a ceasefire being negotiated with an organization like Hamas are valid. Where my focus is, and I think...
Amazing. Okay. In an interview, Matt Duss leveraged his supposed Ukrainian-American identity to say that Israel has the right and responsibility to defend its people. He also goes on fucking Bill Maher. This happened in June 2024. This fucker went on Bill Maher, and as Bill Maher did like blood libel, genocide propaganda, painting all Palestinians as pedophiles, this guy sat there smirking and nodding. I want you to know that. I want you to know this is who Hasan Piker decided to platform and boost. And I want to say to Matt Duss, if you're watching this, I hope you are, my friend, you're never going to be allowed to have a career.
So yeah, Bill Maher.
Outside of what you're doing. We're never going to let you in. If you ever try, we will be there. Not just me, but also others. Don't even fucking try. Don't even try. Just stick to doing what you know. Justifying genocide for Zionism. Do a hard right turn. Become a Republican advisor or some shit.
Dude, Bad Empanada is so hot girl coded. Can I, is that a controversial opinion? Can I say that? I get why people don't like him. I get why people like him. And it's the same reason, okay? Which is like, if this is like the threshold of normal, of like acting like a normal, reasonable person, he's just barely out of that threshold. And that's the reason people like him, and that's the reason people hate him.
Those are your realistic options, not this. We're not going to let you do it.
People of Gaza, by the way, if the Israelis did get rid of Hamas, they'd be doing a giant favor to the people of Gaza who hate Hamas too.
He's nodding along with that, by the way. This is him on the left, this Vosh thing. He's a lot worse than the real Vosh, by the way. I think advocating for the genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza, as he did, in a very official role as well, is worse than consuming drawn as Vosh did. Unequivocally. He's worse. This Vosh lookalike is worse than the actual Vosh.
But let's just go through the lists. Because the Israelis look like us in most ways,
The Israelis look like us. Oh my fucking God. He's sitting next to this guy as he says this.
He's wise. Maybe we're not doing it the right way. I don't know. Religious.
How do you sit next to Bill Maher while he says Israelis look like us and not feel the strongest urge to fucking deck this piece of shit? At least challenge him to a duel on the spot, dude. Come on. I get it. You don't want to get a fucking felony? You can't just fucking tell him, all right, duel me right now. Fight to the death right fucking now. Get up, pussy. Come on.
Tolerance. That doesn't exist in Gaza. You're either Muslim or an infidel, and you better be a Muslim.
Let's just go back.
That doesn't exist in Gaza. You're either Muslim or an infidel, and you better be a Muslim.
So quick question, Bill Maher. Quick question really quickly. What is this? Israeli strike on Gaza church leaves 3 dead. All I Googled was Gaza and church. What does this mean? Let's see what else comes up for Gaza church. Let's see. We've got Israeli forces strike Catholic parish in Gaza. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see here. Church of St. Porphyrius airstrike on October 19th, 2023 was damaged during an Israeli airstrike, killing 18 Palestinian civilians. Over 450 Christian and Muslim Palestinian residents of the Gaza Strip had been sheltering there. So, like, just like, this was the first 3 things that come up on my Google feed when I look up Gaza church. So are these just like, unless Bill Maher is going to tell me that these are Muslim churches because he doesn't know the word for mosque.
Thank God this guy who just sits there, as he said, and nods along to it, was platformed by Hasan Piker and given an opportunity to rebrand. Now the genocide is too obvious and the tides are turning against his previous positions. Something that, I will note, Hasan recently went on Noah's stream and watched one of my videos warning against. Literally like a week before he did this, he watched a video that I made saying, don't let these people do this, and he's letting this guy do it.
Female freedom, free and fair election.
Oh, I'm so glad here in the U.S. we have nice free and fair elections. Like, checks notes, gerrymandering. Checks notes, no giving water bottles to people waiting online to vote. Checks notes, making voting impossible. Oh, right. Oh. Female freedom to forcibly give birth. Got it.
Free speech.
Free speech, yeah. Except if you have a photo of J.D. Vance on your phone that's photoshopped.
Gay rights.
Except for the fact that we're actively trying to overturn gay marriage.
I just finished my list.
Does this mean that we get to start genociding Americans? Is that what that means, since we don't meet any of these?
Pedophilia. I'll put that under don't ask.
You don't want to talk about pedophilia when Epstein just exists as a person that too many politicians have known.
Child brides and so forth. Equality of the
Child brides. Famously, America has never engaged in this behavior, ever.
sexes. I'll categorize that under don't make me fucking laugh. The fact that, you know, these people think that this is
the age of legal marriage in Arkansas is 13.
They should be aligned with, that these are the values that you support.
I love Matt Duss. I'm glad that this is the guy who Hasan Piker is giving an out from his soulless consulting career in Washington, D.C. And this is the guy who is giving an out into like building a potential audience in the alternative media space by getting platformed by, no exaggeration, probably the biggest streamer who could, the biggest guy who could give you a shout out in this space. Because what this guy is doing is just a rebranding. It's a rebranding. He sees the tides turning when he helped this happen in the first place. He helped legitimize it, and he's trying to save himself. We can't let that happen. This guy spent, the first 30 years of his life, at least, pro-Israel, Zionist. October 7th happens, he justifies the genocide, he attacks, Palestinian resistance for it. He spreads blood libel, mass rape, stuff like that. And then 2 years later, he sees the tide turning. He's like, oh no, this is actually really bad. Zionism is bad. Shock, horror, time to break with the DC establishment or whatever. And you just let him do that, and you're like, oh, come on, but he's changed or whatever. We don't have an obligation to let these people keep having fucking media careers. We don't have an obligation to let them keep being talking heads that we have to listen to. Like, you advocate for Zionism for 30 years and you spend like the first 2 years of a genocide justifying it. If you're truly repentant for that, go work in fucking McDonald's like a normal person. Get the job application going. Go work in the mines to provide restitution. Go help rebuilding Gaza as a manual laborer. This idea that we need to forgive people because they came around late or whatever, and what forgive means in these cases is like, let them have a career as like a fucking political commentator or whatever still. No. If you want to be forgiven, first thing that needs to happen is that you renounce everything that you've ever done and do something else with your life. This is not someone who should ever be given forgiveness. You can't just reward this stuff. You can't let these people rebrand and let them get away with what they did, because they'll do it again next time. So they watched my video where I was talking about how these people are going to try to rebrand. And then Hasan invites someone on who is actively attempting to do a rebrand right now.
Career. And I think with a lot of these people that are going to change their mind and try to reposition, we got to remember, we got to keep a very close record of what they said while it was happening and not let them do that. They'll try, but there should be a continuous effort to say, no.
Hasan agreed.
On October 10th, you started justifying what Israel is doing. You started weaponizing your identity to run cover for Israel and blame everything Israel's doing on Hamas, which is exactly what Israel is doing.
Or college protesters.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what you were focused on during this.
I think the only way that these grifters can ever do something that is redeemable is if they detail and identify exactly how they were paid.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way. You know, we need to get that out of this guy here. We need to get Matt Duss to detail.
I agree, Femboy ASMR. All I want is for Hasan to learn from all this. All I want for Hasan to learn from all of this, I said it right, is to bring on more leftist voices. You shouldn't be bringing on people who cross the line. There are plenty of others that he can platform. Totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, a great example is, so this is an instance of something that I disagreed with on like Bad Up Not a little bit, where Hasan brought on, I think, Simone Zimmerman and a few other people that were in that one documentary about like young Jewish people moving away from Israel, where they have publicly, since adulthood, publicly denounced the state of Israel and have denounced the genocide that they're conducting and just all of it, everything, and have not accepted Israelism. Yeah, they've not accepted any money from AIPAC. They haven't accepted money from Israel. Like, they are very clearly, they have their eggs against the Israel basket, and that's where they're sitting, right? And I did see like Bad Up Not criticize Hasan for that, for saying like, yeah, you shouldn't even have to fucking platform Israelis to have people understand that this is a genocide. You should just platform Palestinians. And it's like, yeah, but that's wishful thinking. Realistically, you'll have the most positive or the most capable PR if you can bring on Jewish voices and Israeli voices that are against the genocide in Gaza. So, like, there are a lot of people in Jewish Voice for Peace have been rabid Zionists and incredible allies. I do think it's important to hear not just lefty perspectives, though. Otherwise, we're just not. Well, no, I don't. I think it's important to debate not lefty voices, not talk, like not listen to. Because the problem is that the right doesn't play fair because they don't care about playing fair. So you shouldn't listen to them because they don't give a fuck about trying to be fair. They want to destroy the system and fucking ruin other people's lives. So anywho, yeah, there's lots of voices, and there's lots of, and this is like, to be very clear, Bad Up Not is also so bad at reaching people who are not leftists. Hasan's far more better and converted many Zionists to anti-Zionism. Bad Up Not has great takes. His solutions are quite terrible. I don't know about solutions, and I don't think he's just doomerism. I think that like people should view him as a way to improve our positions and improve our ability to reach more people. Right? My takeaway, I wish Hasan would get an assistant. I mean, I agree. I totally agree. I don't know why he doesn't have one. He covers way more news than drama, but when he does, he is reacting to right-wing folks. I think like the biggest problem with Bad Empanada is that Bad Empanada fans, I would say like half of them are just so irritating and annoying to deal with. And they make, I think, the entire leftist movement look, they kind of give off like Rick and Morty fan vibes. And I don't know how else to frame that. They just feel a little too righteous. Correct. It's not that there are any of the other things that I think people in chat are saying. It's that you attract more flies with honey. Is that the one? Don't you attract flies with literally, it doesn't matter. And they come off as very irritating and annoying to deal with. And just like, they have a certain level of smugness that makes entering leftism seem impossible. That's my biggest Bad Empanada criticism. Half of his fans are just so fucking annoying. Matt Duss is a newsmaker. He's not a random Twitch streamer. This is a person who has access to the halls of power. Hasan isn't necessarily platforming him. He already has a platform that is the U.S. Senate. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. 100%. I think the major criticism we can take away from this is like, if Hasan has access to someone like this, he should go in as hard as Crystal Ball went in on Slotkin, right? Because realistically, Matt Duss isn't going to change his fucking political positions because Hasan asked him to nicely, right? He's going to do what is most beneficial for him to do. And I think that was a really good opportunity to get like a Slotkin type of interview type of situation. Personally, that was my perspective. And I just wish he had gone harder. I don't think that what he did was like evil and wrong and he needs to be destroyed. Like that's exaggerating. We're exaggerating here. It mostly just seems like he didn't do enough research. Yeah, he just didn't do enough research and like prep, which is solvable with like, you know, an assistant. He should get an assistant. If there's any takeaway from this, it should be getting a fucking goddamn assistant. That should be the fucking takeaway here. Drop the ball a little bit. I wouldn't go further than that. That's wrecker shit. Yes. Oh, yes. Exactly. 100%. Exactly. 1,000,000% agree. Drop the ball a little bit. Wouldn't go further than that. That's wrecker shit. I think the take about him getting assistant is great. Yeah, that's where I'm at. His management arranged it? Yeah, but you need someone to like actually research because like management sometimes will just like throw anything and everything your way and you have to be like, no.